Okay, I want to say hello again everybody, it's me Wushu Richard, okay, or Richard. Thank you for joining me again, okay, it's my pleasure, this video is really my pleasure to make, okay. This is a response to a video from Mike Reis. Hello Mike Reis, okay, and I know, I don't need to say get ready for it, because it's not like there's no negativity at all, it's all positivity. I want to say, okay, it's like this. Mike Reis, okay, if you know Mike Reis, anybody, he's a fantastic martial artist. He made a video in response to one of my videos. Now, if you know, I make a lot of like long videos, I do make short videos too, but it's like I have been making some like long videos where I'm very like strongly opinionated. I express myself freely, as I say, and it comes across strongly in some of the stuff that I believe, and what in my background in the martial arts and in life in general. I can't separate martial arts from my life, because I think I'd probably drop dead if I was to do that. Okay? But going back to what I was saying though, this video here is this video you're watching now is a response to Mike Reis's response to one of my videos. Now, in the videos I've been making, I often do this. I always talk about and stand up for my beliefs in the traditional martial arts. Okay, the way I call it, the real true martial arts, and I always speak soundingly, and I don't mean it to, but it sounds like I'm being negative towards MMA, this modern cage fighting, the MMA, and the UFC and all that, and it sounds in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or all these this modern MMA, and I always keep talking about like my opinions and saying about how good traditional martial arts is compared, and there's no comparison. And I can be very strongly opinionated, and I think sometimes my words can come across, and will come across to these people in this modern day and age, as I'm absolutely blind in what I'm saying, and I don't have a clue what I'm saying. Well, first of all, when people say things, they can be interpreted either one way or another by any individual. So what I'm going to do, okay, for Mike Reis, hi Mike Reis, Mike, okay, and anyone watching this video, and okay, in this video it's going to be basically the bottom line. Now, when I say the bottom line, it means I'm going to continue to stand up for what I believe in traditional martial arts. Why not? And try to share the benefits just of what I've gained in my life, not force them on people, but just share what I've gained. And if anyone would like to, listen or whatever, then great. But when I say the bottom line is here, I'm going to explain myself and the point and the exact point of what I mean. Okay, what do I mean? And basically, if you don't want to hear me saying now, then all you need to do is go to watch Mike Reis's videos, which is the response to mine, because he says everything. Even if I shut up now, everything he said is exactly how I feel, and that's what I mean. So when I'm strongly expressing myself sometimes, and I totally go off on one, and I'm like, fuck this, and traditional martial arts, people just don't get the point. It's because it's just like, it's the way I'm expressing it. But what I'm going to do in this video here, though, it's up to you. You can go and check that video out first if you like, then come back, because it's totally fine, because that's exactly what I mean. Everything what he said in that video, okay? So it was great. Well done, by the way, Mike. Thank you very much for your time. Or you can watch my video now, as I say, anyway. But what I'm going to do here, okay, and this is for Mike, and this is for anyone out there, I'm going to just put my point plain and simple in what I mean. First of all, I'm going to go on, talk about a few points, just like what Mike Reis says, a few things exactly how I feel. First of all, I totally understand how people go into things, okay, join groups and things, even like we mentioned, like gangs and things like that. But people joining groups to get that need or get that care, and they do want, let's say, there's something missing in their lives, and they need to find what they need to. Everybody's needs are different, whatever someone wants. And if it's something like you're going to be coached or taught by a teacher or whatever, it doesn't matter what you call them, sensei, sir, master, teacher, sifu, whatever, a tutor, whatever. coach, whatever, if someone's there who's the one who's supposed to be higher, and if we do show our respect in whatever way it might be, right, even just showing up should show that you care. I'm just saying that just showing the respect though, you would hope that that teacher cares and would try to guide you and care. I really respect Mike Reis for talking about how he mentioned his fighters. I don't know what that means, but I guess it's people that he's trained, definitely got a lot of experience in the martial arts. I'm 33 years old. You said you're 38, is it right? But I'm just saying, right, like, in this video I'm 33 years old, but I'm just saying, right, I know exactly what you mean. It's like, we've got our experience in training and whatever we've learned from our backgrounds, but some of these people are in their 20s, and I feel it even now, I'm just 33, but I still feel like different to what I felt when I was 20, and it's true, some of these people are in a really good physique, and they're younger, and they'll put us to shame in a lot of ways, but it's like, we know what we know, and it's like, but I really respect Mike Reis for saying that he spent time on the phone with people late of the night, talking to people and things like this, on the phone. I have put in hours and hours myself of my free time, and I didn't ask for a penny, and I didn't have no money for nothing, but it's like teaching students day in, day out on my free time when I wasn't working at home, private, like tutoring, just in my martial arts, what I know, my bit, and like mainly like Wing Chun and a bit of Tai Chi, okay, a bit of training and like basic self-defense tactics, techniques and stuff, just for people, okay, men, women, okay. But and also some kids, but mostly like just young adults, in their 20s. But it's like, I've also taught larger groups of people too, like the basic like wushu forms and things like that. Okay, it's basic, like what I know, my bit. Okay, now there's a limit to what anyone knows. We've already talked about that. Okay, so I don't put myself out there like I'm a big expert. I've not even ever attained a black belt. I mean, as in properly attained a black belt, and been through the ranks myself. I've only trained in like 3 years of this, 3 years of that, 3 different things through all my life, and then plus trained by myself. So I've gathered a lot of martial arts knowledge and experience within myself, and I know exactly what I know, and I damn well know exactly what I know, and I feel it because in the real deal training what we do, And I've learned a lot. It's the same way like Bruce Lee himself. Bruce Lee was the same. Right? He never learned one style in full, but he learned things to different degrees. Wing Chun was like it had a big influence on him, just like it did with me. My first martial art I ever learned was karate. Then I went into kickboxing, and then from there it went on to the Chinese styles of martial arts. But as I say though, massive fan of things like Aikido. I've never learned Aikido hands properly, like face to face with someone. I've only learned like bits and pieces online, like watching, what's that, but it's like, learn bits and pieces and find out. I see similarities in certain moves and locks and things. The same with Hapkido too. But I love all that, and I know Aikido right very well, Mike Reis. So I want to say, going back to what I was saying though, like I'm going off the plot here. I'm just saying, right, look, what was I saying? I'm doing it again. No, but basically it was like, I just forgot the main part. I don't want to get like confusing people with what I'm trying to say. I'm saying that there's good to be found in all the martial arts. There's honour and respect elements, like you should need to respect yourself first and foremost, and then you need to respect your teachers, and teachers need to respect their students. Even if it's a money thing, it's like for their organisation, whether they're teaching to make a living, but they should respect their students. Now, another thing is like you've got to bear in mind, or not you've got to bear in mind, I don't speak to people like that, I'm just saying like, we've all got to bear in mind, really, that's what I'm saying, that sometimes if it's a very big class of students, or lots, then it can be hard for a teacher to get to. Like when I was learning kickboxing, let's say, we had so many students in the room, massive. So the main teacher, instructor, weren't going to be able to come over to me every time and guide me. And some people might be very, very determined in their training and diligent, but they will feel like kind of left out, and they feel like there's no guidance there. They feel like kind of left out, Even when they come in, smile, say hello, bow, or whatever it might be, even, all this stuff, salute and all the rest, but. And try and make communication, and it just seems like you're left in the shadows. It's like, and and I can understand that too. So the problems do lie within our own psyche, within ourselves, I do believe too. Nevertheless, we do have these emotions, and we do have these, this, and it is important, I think, to show respect to your students and your teachers. Okay. Now, I'm going to talk about a few things. Okay. Excuse me. Oh, my neck. Yeah, it's like this then. So, it's like this, basically. You got, excuse my language, you got bullshit, and then you got the real deal, right? It's what we're talking about. It's what we're talking about. When I'm speaking really, really strongly about this and that, and like what's real martial art, traditional, and then how I feel about MMA people. First of all, I want to put that straight, very clearly there. Okay, a few things. MMA, the training they do, is their own personal choice, and it's great for them. Okay, and what they do is in terms of their physique and whatever, and what they do, right? It's their own thing. And it's true, the main thing that they haven't seen, a lot of them haven't seen, not all of them, a lot of them haven't seen a lot of the benefits which did lie in the past in true traditional martial arts, which in a lot of cases, sadly, has been watered down over time, just like you say too, and then to certain teachers, and it's been passed on, and in this day and age, you're left with a lot of people that really don't know how to fight, or really don't know so much about the art that they're supposedly masters or experts on this or that, about. So I'm going to get onto that in a moment as well. But first of all, I'm just saying this, right? MMA, the training they do, is good physically. I mean, do you know anybody? There's not a lot of people that train the level that they train. And if you're just the average Joe on the street, right, who's not training any applicable fighting tactics, right? Even if you're just old Joe around the block who goes for a jog every day. But even if you do that, or you don't do any exercise or whatever, but there are people that are not in fit shape, like these guys are, these MMA guys, a lot of good ones I'm saying, and they have not trained these kind of fighting tactics for combat. So your average Joe on the street, whether you're the victim or the mugger or the criminal or whoever, is not going to have that ability in terms of proper training, that these MMA guys have. They're the fighters. They're the ones who are training the combat. They're the ones who are training to be strong and that. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying, they're athletes and they can fight. Boy, can they fight, right? So it doesn't come clearly across what I'm saying in words, what I'm trying to say about the traditional martial arts. Now, I've expressed myself about that here clearly, right? So what I'm saying about MMA. So what I'm saying is, I'm speaking for the amount, and fair enough, it might not be the full majority. It might just be that I've had this illusion for so long. But I have seen a lot of MMA people online, MMA fighters and trainers, talking badly. There may be, and also you get people leaving comments and stuff online, and people talking about, traditional martial arts is all this and that is crap. But they might be just young youths and things anyway online, or people that don't have a clue anyway, no experience at all. What I'm trying to say is it's very backward. It's very backward and very immature to put down any art or anything you don't know anything about, is what I'm trying to say. So when I'm coming across strong, saying, you don't effing know anything, man, people don't know this and that, I'm saying that these people who go at traditional martial art, these MMA guys, the ones who do, I'm saying, the MMA guys who put down traditional martial arts, it's not just like putting down something, it could be anything, fair enough, anything, but I'm saying traditional martial art, the truth, the ancient ways, my God, it's just a golden knowledge. Not because I believe it in its personal preference, even though it still is, but it's like, it was more effective, and that's all I'm saying. That's what I totally believe. Well, I can't tell me about there, it was more effective. What am I talking about? Well, why has MMA come about? No, it's not the point. But to me, I believe, and from what I've learned just my little bit from that, I know, just to me, right, it seems a lot more effective. Well, if people want me to change words just to suit everybody, then I will say it another way that people may accept, and I will say, or maybe you will say it's the correct way, absolutely. What I will say in a different way is I will say that it suits me. What I have learned from that suits my personal taste, and I am not in any position to put down the training of MMA. And people will say then, well, why the hell do I do it then? Why do I stand from this point of view and say this is superior to that when I haven't even done MMA? It's like I'm shut up almost with straight away. I'm shut up immediately without even. There's nothing I can say. It's like there's so much in traditional martial arts that these people don't understand, but I understand the whole thing, right? I understand the whole thing about what MMA is about. I know there's diligent stuff, there's hard training, rigorous training. The guys are in fantastic athletic physique, a lot better than some of these traditional people nowadays, the so-called ones, right? And I know that these MMA guys can fight hardcore. It's all about fighting. It's all about reality fighting. It's not about there's rules in the cage and that, but it's all about reality fighting. It's not messing around, and there's a lot of tradition in there too, in the arts. And like you said, a lot of people have been through the traditional arts and stuff in the past as well. But I'm saying it's all very, very applicable. The kickboxing, the Muay Thai, the jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, that deriving, like you say, from judo and Japanese, like jiu-jitsu and what it really was before. That's the way I speak, so it really was, because I don't fake around. But I'm saying the Brazilian jiu-jitsu is real and it's good, and all the stuff that MMA guys do is real. But what I'm saying is I've just said exactly what it is there. Grappling, certain self-defense moves without including certain things, like you said, like in Aikido. Let's say for the MMA, you wouldn't be allowed to, say hit the throat, strike the throat, or for vital points and things like that. There's controls and things, certain locks, but it's like certain things wouldn't work in certain situations either. Like you say, wrist locks and things would only work in certain situations, even on the street. Even if you're on the street and somebody's coming at you, punching, swinging, you can't really get a wrist lock on very easily, can you? I mean, I even saw a video by Mike Reis, right, very good, and I was watching a video, fantastic, and he was explaining about wrist locks and things like arm locks. And it's like, and it's something I do a lot, and I love it in my training, and different kinds of locks and structural work that we do in the training. But it's like, you have to work it in different situations where someone's grabbing you and you're in a clench, or someone's grabbing onto you, or using that certain amount of power and leverage, and you move with the structure and the actual pressure. And people got to understand it's a different kind of thing. So people in the MMA are great because they understand this physical control of some traditional martial arts. It's like, I love the striking. If you say MMA, I like the striking more than the grappling, right? And the ground fighting I hate. But it's not like I'm saying this word hate again. I'm doing it all the time. It's like I'm saying I'm not interested in it. I don't see any sense in going to the ground if you're in the middle of a riot situation or on the street, or people smashing crowbars over your head, and there's a group of people in the middle of a street and you're in your nice suit. Let's say you've come back from work and you're in a suit. You're going to lay down on the muddy. I don't have one, by the way. I'm saying you just lay on the ground. Come on, I'm going to put my legs around you. I'm going to show you. I'll get on to the point in a minute about Kung Fu at the end of this video and explain what I feel about that as well, if I can remember that point there. Keep that in your mind for a moment about ground fighting. It's useful if you're taken to the ground and you need to fight back up onto your feet. It's useful if you need to fight, or even just restrain them on the ground, but it's useful to do it. Takedowns are useful, and then once you've been taken down or you fall down, but it's good to be able to fight on the ground. There's other styles too, like Silat and different martial arts, which do focus on ground fighting. Fair enough, include ground fighting in the training too, and it's like different to this jiu-jitsu stuff, not only grappling and stuff. But the grappling stuff is very, very useful. Now, jiu-jitsu also has stand-up moves, right, too, and grappling. As far as I know, on my knowledge, I don't know too much, but I know it's like they're all similar. You've got like Hapkido, Aikido. I know they're different. You've got Tai-jitsu and Ninjitsu. You've got things like that. Even in basic Taekwondo and Karate, there are self-defense moves like that. And even in like other traditional, like I said, Krav Maga, there's lots of styles. But going back to what I'm saying, though, it's like this. It's like, that's the basic thing, and the whole structure of an MMA fighter, apart from the background they may have in other different training, the usual thing is main basics are like kickboxing and Muay Thai, right? Which is basically similar, but Muay Thai's hardcore, more hard, and you've got like the elbows and knees and that. But it's like, and then there's jiu-jitsu for the grappling. So people can grapple to an extent on their feet. They understand ground fighting, which is very useful if fights do end up on the ground. They could happen in a street fight very often also. If you're not good on your feet and you haven't trained your traditional, as I'm standing up for, like it teaches us anyway. But you learn ground grappling, standing up grappling techniques and manoeuvres, real life manoeuvres, how to move around. You've got epic, excellent physique training, which is advanced, to a lot compared to a lot of other martial arts. I mean, you might go to a real good MMA school and become even more physically strong, more physically improved in your physical physique than some other traditional martial arts schools. I've said even like a kickboxing school or something, but it's like not necessarily, but I'm just saying. But then again, it's like, and then again they got all the striking anyway. They work in the kickboxing and the Muay Thai, and they work it hardcore when they do it. They do the striking and that. So what have I just said? And again, I'm saying I understand that this thing is a fighting art. And as a let away and a getaway, and as you say, like people living in America or England, let's say, or in the West, Buckingham Palace, kick some ass. I'm just saying, but people like in the West, it's true. You see, you're not going around in robes and kimonos and all that and bowing and all this. But it's like you want to be realistic, and you want your teacher just to respect you, things like that, and you're just basic. And it's like reality, and you want to just not mess around with all mystic stuff and just tradition and geese and that. You want to just go, feel comfortable, sports clothes, get a good real workout in, train hard and learn how to fight and defend yourself if that's what it is for as your main goal, or just to know as extra anyway, self-defense, but train to be a really good fighter in yourself. And also maybe for the ring, if it's for the ring or the cage, the sports. And like you said, MMA is for sports. It's a sports kind of thing. It's a sport kind of fighting, and that's not what I stand up for. I don't believe in sport and competition in that way. It's all ego, the way I see it, totally. And like you subtly put as well about it being wrong. Some of these people are led into things, and they come into the things humble, and they leave because they've been built up by everybody else around them, and they've become like this animal, and they leave. A lot of people. It's down to the individual now. It's funny, you've got to give others support, but how much support can change a person? You build them up to build them down. I don't know what to say. Or you are built up to be built down. You just can't see it yourself. People, I'm saying in general. So you've got to have control yourself. Martial arts has always been, and I don't care any kind of physical discipline, right? It's like, again, Bruce Lee saying, right, all knowledge is ultimately self-knowledge. So all discipline is ultimately self-discipline. And we just don't see that. We go in there, like you say, bow, salute and bow, or whatever it might be to people. And it's just like there's, it's not, some people do it for they say just for the tradition of it, the culture of the respect, and they like the feel of it. It's all something, it's like anything. People join in groups and they think they want to be part of it, and this and that. There's different things. There's a lot of what do you call that? Customs, if you want to call it. I don't know what people do when they join things. It might be like a gang, with a certain tattoo, or a group wearing a certain kind of outfit to represent their thing, or a certain kind of salute they do. It's a thing. It's okay when you think it's still. It's a thing, isn't it? It's an emotion. It's a mental thing. But the thing is, they do all that, and you don't want to bullshit around. Excuse my language. You don't want to mess around. What's the point in that? They don't even understand really what they're going in for. That's the thing. And it's like you don't want to lie to yourself ultimately. So it's a sport though, right? MMA is like a sport thing, and I don't believe in that. As I say, I don't believe in sport or something. It's like for competition, fighting. I think it's just ego in general. It builds ego. You have to admit that. Although competition can be good for people to help yourself get there, because you want to be you want to be able to do more than the other guy can, and it's good. It helps you because it's like motivation. But it shouldn't be that you look down on people and you say, well, that guy is this or that, so I want to prove I'm better. Prove to people that you're better than that guy, or I'm a better human being than that human being there because I'm more stronger. I can run faster or whatever. It's not the point, right? That's just absolutely illusions. Because even a great master or whatever supposed expert of something can be taken unawares by someone who has no experience, no knowledge, and that person can come unstuck, as we all can. The ego is what will destroy a person. And if you're blinding yourself, that's what you're doing. With your words, like I'll keep talking now, or someone who just listens all day, or follows this or follows that. Time won't wait. We'll get older as we go through life. So we've got to respect everyone for their own imperfect. I've always said people are imperfect. I said there's nothing wrong with me. Was it? No, I've said I'm not perfect, but there's nothing wrong with me. You're not perfect, but there's nothing wrong with you. Okay, everybody, we are imperfectly perfect and perfectly imperfect. So we are perfect in our imperfection. I'm not saying we are totally something wrong. It's like we are as we are. Everybody's different, individuality. So you have to respect people for what they want to do, because why wouldn't you? It doesn't matter. It matters what you want in your life and who you are and how you feel. So we're saying exactly the same thing. You see what I'm saying? I totally, absolutely respect you, Mike Reis, for what you're saying. I totally agree. Now I'm going to get on to another point, okay, because I want to put this point clearly. This video is supposed to be like the bottom line, not the last video. I'm going to continue talking about my feelings on traditional martial arts and MMA and all that, of course. Why should I? But this video is like the bottom line, the main point of what I'm trying to say, okay? I've talked about MMA now, right? I've said it's great in what they do in terms of the physical training, right? I find a lot of holes in there and a lot of things just from what I see, my perspective, my blindly miles away perspective compared to traditional martial arts. And it's my interest that keeps me into the real martial art, the traditional martial arts, and the way I see that as being better. And I don't mean to keep imposing it and people saying it is better and you need to take it and you need to stop doing MMA and do that or listen to me. I don't mean that at all. No. I'm saying that in a lot of cases I need to shut up. But it's like I do stand up because there are people out there that will slate that. That's why I'm just doing it. It's like two wrongs don't make a right. It's not for an argument. But it's like that was so golden. It was so great that I feel the same way as these people want to spread UFC and it's all over MMA and it's like it's all around, it's like, well, they can, I will also spread the message of true martial arts, just to share the good, what I've learned in my life. Nobody's trying to empower or be better than anyone else or put other people's beliefs down. It's just like we're trying to share what we do, and can we learn from each other? And that's what it's really about, can we learn from each other? Whatever you feel is fit for you, you'll go down that path. And that's okay. You either go alone or with others or whatever, but it's always you who's walking down that path. And that's totally fine, okay? So what I'm trying to say is, okay, let's go back to what I was saying, but there's so many ancient traditional martial arts. Even like you, Mike Reis, you even mentioned things like Taekwondo and Karate. And when you think back to some of these arts, they're great, aren't they? The way they really are fascinating. Aikido's a wonderful art. Really wonderful art. Not just a wonderful art, you're in a daydream. I'm saying the technicality, Kempo and things like that. Awesome, no? The snapping power. I'm not just saying the cutters and all the forms. I've explained clearly what I'm talking about in other videos. I'm not saying I'm living in a dream of cutter and just doing all fancy moves. I'm saying there are movements that can be applied to real fighting. Just like you've said, Mike, people have said to you that Aikido won't work, blah, blah, blah. And in the end, you just have to humble yourself and say, okay, let's let them be, let them think what they want. Because you know yourself what will work for you. Have I once said, correct me if I'm wrong, I have not said that MMA is useless for combat. I've never said that at all. I've not said it's totally ineffective. I've not said it's used bad words like saying, it's worse than traditional martial arts. I've said it a different way. I've said that there's a lot more in traditional martial arts that they can benefit from when they're not benefiting from. It doesn't mean you need to learn all that. You just want to learn some basic self-defense, hardcore hitting, hardcore basic grappling techniques, and then the grappling on the floor. And it's like advanced within that system. It's very advanced. And so let's face it, I'm being realistic, I'm being real in what I'm saying. This grappling, what they do, this whole MMA thing, like a lot of the training, is so much more advanced and so much more real and so much more. It looks like simple, I'm saying simple, but it's actually like no cutters and all this extra stuff. But it's like straight to the point, straight for fighting, and it is advanced. They've got lots of different locks and techniques and things, and all kinds of striking and all kinds of moves. And it's actually more advanced, I believe, than you going down to some of today's traditional martial arts schools. You go to a Taekwondo school or something, and you'll go in there, and you might be working for months and months, learning certain drills and things like this, and patterns and forms, and then a bit of pair work and hitting pads, and even good workouts. But you'll never. But I'm saying, if you were to go to the MMA school, if it's a good one, I'm saying, you might build yourself up in a very good physique in a shorter time and become more of a fighter, more street ready to stand up against, if you're going to get mugged or be able to fight, or in the ring, even in the cage, and to fight more. But are we saying it's better or worse, or am I suddenly saying Taekwondo or some of these traditional schools are actually worse now in that? No, like you said, Mike, it depends on personal preference. Someone might want to go into a school and just learn katas or learn forms and do the moves and that. The same way as they might fall into the blindness of it. Like, I want to just get a gi and get the belts and all that and all this, or bow and for the magic of it, or what do you call it, the mystique of it. It's like, whatever it is your own preference is, and nobody's perfect in the way they think even. But you do what you do, and if you feel good about it in the moment, if it's helping you get through your life, that's good. And then one day you'll be older and you'll look back and you'll say, that was great and that helped me. The same way as this 33-year-old kid here, I'm talking about my past and how that's helped me. It's only in what we know from certain experiences. So it's only what we've gained from that, and it's also only what we've gained from our way of thinking at the time, and now our way of thinking has developed or evolved over the years into this way of thinking. So still, what I say has influenced me is still only me influencing myself because of what I was interested in and what fit me for the time. And it's like memories and stuff. But what really is now, it's like now, in this situation in your life now, how much do you feel what is real and what isn't? It's like the Matrix again. How do you define real? Is it what you feel? Do you think only electrical signals to your brain? Was it the senses and that? Well, how people a lot of people see it as how other people see them or how other people treat them. That says a lot about them, they feel, because they can't do it alone. You have to fit into this world, and they feel that this world determines what you are, and they feel the society, what's their role in society. And I think that is, to them, that's reality. To a lot of people. If you're some poor guy or a bum or someone living in a temple somewhere, alone in the forest or, on the mountains, then, you might feel there's no meaning in the world. But to that person, they might feel, and it might mean that there really is meaning in their life, and this means a lot more. And you say, well, you don't know anything about the city life, and all this. Well, how do you know? You can't compare. It's like me talking about MMA and stuff. It's like the same thing. It's like, but that person does know. Until you've lived up in the mountains, you'll never see that beautiful view. I'm giving you poetic philosophy stuff again, right? Based on all kinds of stuff that I've grown up with. Fair enough, all this, people might say it's mumbo jumbo, but this, like you even mentioned like David Carradine's Kung Fu, or like loads of these old books I might have read like about Chinese philosophical quotes and stuff. But let's face it, we can't go back in time. We can only study from from yesterday and what has been, whatever's out there, either from yesterday or today, and then that will, and then our own logic and what we think and what is right or wrong and what we like, and express it in our own way, any kind of expression of language or what we feel about anything, being scientific, being realistic about it. You've got to be real before you can be scientific about it, otherwise your science is bullshit in your language, and then you go out into the world, what are you going to do tomorrow? What are you doing now anyway? So what I'm trying to say is that's the reality of it. What I'm trying to say is for the next, but it's really though. So let me get on to the next point now, because we've got a lot of points, and sorry to ramble again, but it's important, right? Traditional martial arts today, or even in history, even for years, right? There's always been bullshit, the same as in the MMA. There's always been, in any form, in any walk of life, there are people that just make a mockery of the whole thing, make an absolute joke. So what you've said there is right, Mike, again, to me. I can't tell you what's right or wrong. I'm saying to me, what I feel, okay, my personal understanding of what I feel I understood from what you've said, is about people that want you or expect you to go in and bow and kiss their ass, and say master, sensei, call them that, and then this is ego. This is totally ego. I totally agree with you. I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want just that. I believe in all the tradition and the ancient ways, and I believe in the fact that myself personally, I'm just saying, right, 2 points. I'll give you 2 points here, and you might get confused, but I'll give you 2 points, right? Anyone out there? 1 point, right, is like this. I would rather, the first point, you have to hear both points, okay? 1 point is a traditional martial arts master, someone of a high level, regardless of even if their personality, but they should have a better personality. I mean, if they are a master, because it teaches you in your life not only how to fight, but traditional martial arts. If that guy is a master, when I mean master, I mean not my master, like I'm a dog. I mean if he's someone who has really trained to such a high level, his whole life has been dedicated to, he's been living in caves for all his life. I would say, right, training in martial arts on top of mountains and stuff. if this guy is absolutely incredible in his traditional martial arts, I would feel more like I would, not that I want to bow and kiss someone's shoes, but I'm just saying, I would feel more like I have to show respect. I would feel more comfortable with calling the guy master or Sifu, Shifu, sensei. I would feel I would feel that I naturally inside me feel that it's not the title or the ego, but it's like I feel like naturally I respect this guy from what he's done. The same way as you could call an MMA teacher or coach that way. But the difference is with me, it's the first point, don't forget, before I get on to the second point. And the first point is I would not feel as comfortable to call an MMA coach master or sensei. As such, for the most part, I'm saying, in the same context, in the same meaning, I'm saying. I might even call him that, but I wouldn't feel comfortable in saying that because of MMA and traditional martial arts, the true arts, I'm saying. They're just totally two different things, and to me, MMA will always be a lower form of self-discipline and a lower form of life art. Now, that's the first point, right? People peed off what I'm just saying there. Now I'm going to go on to the second point and turn it around because people don't understand. You've got to go both ways. The other thing I'm going to say is like this, right? These things are exactly the same still, though. It's like, what am I talking about? Mumbo jumbo now. Contradicting myself. It's like this MMA is the same thing, right? If a teacher, any teacher, is which one treats you fairly, which one treats you kindly. It doesn't matter if it's traditional or MMA. If that person is trying to teach you all they know, and that person might be just as disciplined in their art, then who the F am I or anyone to compare the two? This guy's a master and this guy's just a coach. Oh, he's done. No, these are two different human beings. I can't even compare levels of mental discipline. Only they know themselves. I can't even compare their arts. You might get these two guys together and the MMA guy beats that so-called master. Even if this master comes up and beats 1,000, champion fighters in whatever style, then this one MMA guy could come up, or it could be someone off the street who knows nothing even, and just beat the guy. So, most important thing is, again, about character and things like that. It's like Jackie Chan was saying, this is how we treat people and stuff, and that. So it's true. The character of a person and the self-discipline and what they know and the diligence and determination and all that, their drive and their training and then the passing on of it and what they know, and even whoever you learn from in your life, whatever you learn from and however much you're able to learn from based on that teacher wanting to teach you and caring too, and as well as based on your own study, being determined. But whatever you learn, the traditional way or the MMA, how are you going to use that in your life? And what did I just say a moment ago? I said life arts. I didn't remember I mentioned life art, not just martial art. And I've always said that Kung Fu, traditional martial arts, is of a higher level of a life art for everything. Not just because I'm being philosophical and all this, David Carradine, Kung Fu again. I'm not doing that, I'm saying, but that's the reality of it. That was just a show for it. I'm saying the actual meaning of this kind of stuff. I'm not saying going Karate Kid and all that, but I'm saying really though, the philosophies are there, it was all part of it, it was always taught back in the day, the respect and the humbleness and all that. Not in every school. So many schools were just teaching the fighting or teaching bullshit and just robbing people off, conning people off. In fact, there's probably more people in the East than the West. More who have been conned the fuck out. There's more people within that culture and within that societies. There's a lot of conning anyway. So I'm just saying, right? But what I'm trying to say is, how you take something and use it in your life. So I might go to a Kung Fu teacher and say, okay, I want to learn this because I know Kung Fu's for life. It's a life art. But I might not learn much. I might not learn chicken shit, excuse my language, about my life because I'm just learning it and trying to learn more. It might be something about the teacher as well who doesn't seem to give a fuck because he's a master and he wants to be called master and that as well. But I might go to an MMA school, be built up physically, train more harder. The teacher, if it's a good teacher, it depends, usually ego in both. But it's like you might get a good teacher who really wants to help me and really want to teach me. He's not in robes and that and with a big beard or say I'm the master necessarily, but it's like he will do all he can to try and train me. It might even be a woman or a little old lady or whoever, you don't know. But it's like someone's there who wants to help you and build you up, right? And epic, it's great. And I might learn a lot from that. I learn communication, connection. And he's not like giving textbook. He's not saying, well, these are the ancient texts, and this is what it is, or philosophy, spilling that quotes from the part. He's being genuine, and this guy genuinely being kind, and you learn that, wow, this guy's, and you learn that was positive, and you've come out feeling more positive in yourself. It's like you see that in the Rocky films. I know I'm pulling out films again from the hat, but I'm just saying things like, Rocky and that, how he's like passing on the spirit and the heart to the people, not just to fight him. This is what it's about, though. Human beings we're talking about, not just an art. So human beings, life. So it's like you mentioned, like some of these kids who join these gangs and stuff because they want to feel that they're part of something. I remember the rapper DMX. DMX once said that he broke down on tears almost in an interview. He got choked up. DMX said, the rapper, he said, it doesn't matter how hard you try to be and be hard and all this. He said, in the end, everybody wants to feel like they're someone's baby. He said, it is true. It's the thing we've got in us as human beings. We want to survive. We want to feel good about ourselves. Recently, I've made another video. Okay, oh damn, I deleted it. I'm very sad to say, but I made a video talking about ego and things like that too. I think I can't remember if I deleted it or not. I made a video. I was talking about like how some people seem to have like I think I kept that video up. I can't remember. I think the video's up. Have a check again. It's one of my videos, and I'm talking about where you can't really blame people always because their ego and that. Even if they've got ego, sometimes it's because they've got a place in their heart where they feel pain or loneliness, and they want to feel that space. They want to feel good about themselves. They want others to, although it seems shallow, we don't need others to determine if we're a better human being or not. We need to just believe in ourselves. But it's like you just do feel better, and you have to understand people at different parts of people come from different walks of life, different backgrounds and different things, and different family backgrounds and all that. So they're definitely going to have different ways of thinking, different mindsets. They've come from different backgrounds and it's developed over time, and it's like, I don't want to say mental illness, but it's just a mental development, as such, and we have to understand that. If something's negative and you just don't like it, you don't need to get into an argument or a fight with someone or prove a point or literally every day. It's like you just don't think about it. You just, okay, well that guy thinks what they think, and fair enough, I'll think what I think, and that's all there is to it. That's all there is to it, right? And then it's like, you let them be who they want to be, the same way as they should let you. If someone starts telling you, you've got to change your life, blah, 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 you just walk away and say, screw that, I know what I think. I don't need anyone to tell me how to live my life, but so I don't tell you either. And then you just let that guy live their life. If the person's trying to touch you, attack you, fight you, then you've got to defend yourself or get away, right? You've got to. But that's what it is, stay clear away from it, miles away from it. That's why the ninjas were like the wisest, because they weren't, you must say the cowards and that, and like I've said already, like, you might say a ninja's a coward and that because they don't want to face a fight face on, they'll sneak in the night and then that. But no, they were being wise, they wanted to get the job done, they weren't there to prove a point or be silly arsehole, excuse my language, they were there to do it. They trained their fight and everything, but the highest thing was to get their job done in life. You don't want to. So, okay, I've just remembered. So we're coming back to the point now when I was talking about ground fighting. Do you remember? And I said, if you're wearing a suit coming back from work and you're smart, or going to your wedding, and then you get into a fight on the street, you're going to lay on the ground, are you, in the mud or in the dirty, rain-covered ground, and so you're going to grapple you down now. And it's a traditional real master of martial arts, in my mind, traditional real martial artist, right? A master, or the actual concept of traditional kung fu and real martial arts. When I say tradition, I don't mean tradition because we're wearing the suits and the gis and the belt and all that. We do it. I'm just saying traditional martial arts, the reality, the true thinking. It should be like you learn to stand up on your feet and avoid fights. Might sound magical when I'm giving all this. And also your fighting is so deadly that it's like that guy's already killed himself. Because your strike, if you give any technique, it could kill him like that. It's plain and simple. You didn't use any energy to kill the guy, but it's like you didn't use any, so it's like the guy is just killing himself. It's like the guy walks up to you, he's got one negative thought in his head, he's going to take that step, and that means he's committed suicide. That's what he's like. And you're going through peace in your life, trying to show love and patience and all the rest of it, just like David Carradine Kung Fu. Again, so I'm being stupid arsehole saying that, yeah, but I'm saying that's really though what it's supposed to be like. And if there was someone like that, I'm sure that you get a lot of haters. You say this guy's a dreamer, but this is what it's really about. The technique. So someone, right, who trained traditional martial, a real martial artist, I'm saying it should be like they don't go down to the ground. They'll put you down to the ground, no problem, crack you down, you'll go falling, flying down. You know what Aikido's about, things like that, right? So the guy who comes to grab you just can't grab hold of you, you absorb, go with the flow, deflect. The guy falls down, you can either tread on him and crack him or just leave him there and walk off. Your goal in martial arts, what's your goal in martial arts? Martial arts is a life art. Martial arts is there to help us to keep straight on that path in our life, to find what we want or be straight on our path in ourselves, to never lose ourselves and stray from who we are in our nature. Might be to go to an MMA school, that's right, or join a gang or whatever it might be for some people, but I'm just saying, right, it's deeper, it's not just shallow. So what I'm trying to say is traditional martial art, the true martial arts or Kung Fu in the way in that, it should be about you go on a straight line, not just one line, simple-minded, you don't look at other things and you're just stuck on that one way. I don't mean that, or hit a dead end and you're going for your goals, going straight for your deathbed, walking to the end of your life like a blindly. I don't mean that, wearing gis and just bowing for the whole life. I don't mean like that. I'm just saying, but martial arts is telling you, like when you're walking on the street, to live your life and not look for fights and not look for competition. You never lose your own thinking, you understand who you are. You respect people's ways of thinking too. You stay on the path of nature, otherwise you get problems. You be real. And it's teaching you, right, hear me out. So, traditional martial arts is teaching you to keep on that path. So that means in your daily life, you're going shopping, you're going to the supermarket, or you're going down the street, you're going to go shopping to get your groceries, or you're holding your baby in your arm, your girlfriend in your, whatever it's going to be. You're walking down the street, and someone is in front of you now, some thug or someone comes in front of you and wants to fight you. Now we're talking combat, right? What are you going to do? You're wearing your wedding suit or whatever, and you lay back on the ground. Come on, I'm going to give you this Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Or you say, I'm going to take you down. You take the guy physically, you take him down to the ground. A lot of times in Jiu-Jitsu, you see them actually go to the ground with the guy and restraining the guy. Fair enough, you see it in the army, you see it in the police force, and it's also very useful, and you see it in traditional martial arts as well, I know. And Jiu-Jitsu is a traditional martial arts to a lot of extent. What I'm trying to say is, martial arts does not teach you, traditional martial arts does not teach you to bring down a human being. Be it in the person's spirit. You know what I mean? Someone smiles and you're like, why are you smiling? It's rude to people. Smile, be friendly. You know, not be a dickhead, but it's like, it teaches you to not bring people down in their spirit or in their physique. Drag someone to the ground. Kick them while they're on the ground. MMA doesn't either, fair enough. Or bring someone to the ground. Ground and pound now. Right? And restrain someone. And impose your power and have to feel that you have to use this ego to show that you are bigger than people, better than people, I'm tougher than you, you're in my way, I'm going to bring you down, or I'm going to drag you down, or I'm going to break your teeth out, and there's any way to harm someone, in any way, even in defence. And that was the most amazing thing, don't you think? The power of that. You might say stupidity, but traditional ancient martial arts was like humble. There was this story I heard of this sensei, or this like old karate master, who just was set upon by a group of thugs or something, and he let them beat the shit out of him because he didn't want to even defend himself. He felt that in his spirit that would be a kind of retaliation in some way, and that's not the spirit. He wants to be so masterful. He got so beaten up so badly. One attack, if he would have attacked one of those guys, he could probably kill them with his skill, supposedly, you know. Even if he was to block or defend, even that would also seem like he's fighting against them, and he wants to be like totally patient. Like he could have died. So to me, you know, that's stupid. To me, that's absolutely ridiculous. That's just some kind of empowerment story of inspiration. It's kind of ridiculous. But what we can say is the human mind is amazing. You know, my teacher used to say that the mind is a powerful weapon, and that. But it's true. The mind. So if you're able to endure so much in your life, not that, let's say, but if you're able to endure like someone laughing at you, shouting at you, cussing you off, and you just think nothing of it, you know, it's fine. If something's not in your way and controlling your life, if there's a problem, you walk around it, you go under it, over it, there's always a way, find a way to deal with it, or you can't always ignore problems, but you don't always have to waste your time on them if they're irrelevant. But if someone's stopping you from living your life, your baby's crying, hungry, your wife's there, you want to go home, or something, you've got to go shopping, and you're walking down that street in a straight line now, and you're a martial arts master, something in your way, you know, it's like a door. It's like if you can't open it down, you've got to kick it down. Obviously, you've got to have that power. It's like, how can I say to you, it's like a true martial artist would not be trying to take the person down. You'd be like, that guy's attacking first. You know, I'll continue walk around him if I can. If I can't, I will use techniques to deflect and push him away. If the guy tries to lay his hands on me, the guy's going to fall over. You know what Aikido's about, right? He's going to just go falling down, you get him into a lock, or throw him down. And then as soon as the guy is down, I'm not going to literally kick him or stamp on him or go down, ground and pound, or go down with him and restrain him. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use my standing up techniques. I might have one hand holding the baby. If my one hand can, the other free hand can fight, then that's epic, right? I'm not living in a dream world. Like the same way like they used to train in Randori, right? You know what Randori is about, Aikido, that's Steven Seagal, I'm a big fan of. Some people don't like him, they say this and that. But, you know, epic, and it's like one person versus 3 people. Not just playing around, but realistic, real, hardcore. You see some of these people training Krav Maga and stuff that's real. So what I'm trying to say is, not just traditional bullshit and wearing gis just for the sake of it and bowing and doing all this crap and doing it for the mind, you know, that. It's like, it's real, going in for the real fighting. Right? I'm going to go on a few more points in a moment. So what I'm trying to say is, in a real martial art fight, it should be like, you're on that straight line, you're standing on this spot, nothing can move you. You go and deflect them and throw them either way, using Tai Chi, Aikido, whatever it's going to be, striking, Wing Chun, Karate, or whatever it might be. Someone's coming in, they can't touch you, there's flying all over the place. Someone comes to push you, you turn, absorb it, they go flying down, you might trip them, sweep them, whatever, throw them over there, and then you just deflect that problem without trying to hurt someone. It's like you do whatever you need to do. You might need to hurt someone a bit on the street, but it's like you don't force have to put your baby down, put your shopping down, give him your money, give him this. You might do things to trick him in that, but it's like give your energy, give your time, give up your clothes. You know, you're laying on the floor in the mud doing jiu-jitsu or whatever, for just because if you don't need to. I'm saying there might be times where you have to, or you fall to the floor, or these techniques might work for you better if you know more about jiu-jitsu than other arts. Then to save your life, you might need to go down with these ground fighting and grappling. I'm admitting to that too. But what I'm saying is if you're going in a straight line, you want to just go through this problem like it's fucking not there. Excuse my language, right? Go straight to the point. So you walk past. The guy's there, he's trying to grab you, whatever, you get onto a lock, whatever, or get it off, strike, chuck him away somewhere above, alright? He's going to have to grab you or something, he's going to strike, so you have to have good blocking if he's going to attack, good cover. Your MMA is going to work too for that, but I'm just saying, it's like, you know, you throw the problem away and continue walking down to that grocery store where you was going, or down to that funeral, or down to meet your beloved family member or friend, hopefully not in the hospital, or go into the cemetery, the graveyard, you know, to pay your respects, or go to school, or go to work, or go home because you've had a hard day at work today. Your goal is not to say ego, come on, in a fight, let's fight. I would knock your fucking teeth out, or even with traditional moves, even, I'm going to do a Tai Chi on you. What? That's not the point of traditional, real martial arts either, see what I'm trying to say? So it's not like you're saying you're going in, I'm going to take you down to the ground, I'm going to say that. But it's like, they don't know enough about that. Are you going to see police officers in this day and age, are you going to see them doing Wing Chun to an extent? Or are you going to see them just using kickboxing alone, or just some kind of fighting, striking hard in, even sort of some lethal techniques to criminals on the street, if it's not that, you know, this or that. So it's like, they all use restraints and things. There might be certain, you know, in some countries they do use, like, learn hardcore martial arts, like, I've seen the training they do, like, in Taiwan and that, but, you know, but I'm saying again, like, it's like, come out again, there's like things like Krav Maga, things like that, they've taught that, you know, or like in the army as well, you know, they've taught, also Israel, and that you see these things online and about things like that. I don't know a lot about it, I'm just saying that. But it's like, traditional martial arts, there's so much knowledge in there in terms of techniques in training. It's very interesting too. It's sad. There's nothing I can do about it, but it's sad that people don't look into and learn a lot more from it. There's more than just building up your muscles, building up your ego, going into combat, competitions, combat, putting yourself in danger, pulling people down to the ground, and restraints and all that. There's more to it than that. You can learn to deflect problems easily with simple techniques of the mind and the techniques physically in traditional martial arts. And the training is different. It will discipline people differently. It will teach you how to stand up You don't need to go down. If you have to go down with someone, if you have to exert yourself, like you always see in the MMA, right? Most times in UFC, you see people covered in sweat. But even the winners, sometimes they've got a black eye, they've got a cut on their face, or they've got some kind of blood or sweat. They've put effort in. You can't tell me that all the champions of it, you know, are... I don't even like this champion. What's that about? I'm a human being, you know. I'm okay. I love life anyway, so I'm already a winner. As long as I don't give up on my life. I don't need to be a champion in someone's eyes. That's the title. That's ridiculous. Holding the gold belt. It's not about ego, man, but I'm going for that gold belt, you know. You can say what you want about me. I'm going to prove to everybody. Oh, come on, man. It's like, what I'm trying to say is, like, it's like, you know, I forgot what I was just going to say to you. I forgot the point I was going to say now. I don't want to just ramble about crap. But you see what I'm trying to say, though? I forgot what I was going to say. Just forgot what I was going to say to you. But I'm just saying, you know, it's deep, you know. Traditional martial arts is the real thing. You don't need to exert yourself, as I'm saying, be the champion and all this for that. It's like, traditional martial arts teaches you to stand up and walk the path and not look for fights, to avoid it all and to be able to deflect all that, you know, anything negative coming at you and just dissolve it into nothing. You know, it teaches you a masterful way. So going back to what I was saying, you know, you don't see the police doing that. You know, just going around and doing like Wing Chun and like all these kind of moves. It's always about restraining and all this. That's what I was saying again, right, about these champions. When you see champions like in the UFC and MMA, you can't tell me that most of these champions do not exert or do not use effort. I mean, a lot of effort too, to get them where they are today. And it's not always from in the gym. They might say all of it they owe to what they've done in the gym, fair enough. But I'm saying in the fight, they actually are that. But true traditional martial arts teaches you to be calm, like a monk. Yeah, I'm daydreaming, am I? Talking about all this. People out there don't have a clue. They think I'm talking about, and there's David Carradine again. But I'm saying, really, it teaches you to be calm, sense whatever's coming at you, like that. You know when you see like these crazy demonstrations and stuff online, someone fires an arrow at you or throws knives at you. How do you stand so still? Or just sense it moving? Kind of ridiculous. But I'm saying, right, that's what it really is teaching you, to be still, like archery, you know, the inner focus and things like that. Great, right? I've never done it, but I'm talking about, you know, the archery is good. So that's what I'm talking about. Teaching you to be still, like that water, you know, clear so you can see your reflection, your own reflection on the top. That's how deep does it go? Because it can become so distorted, and you know, and you jump in, you know, like too shallow. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It was saying, right? So I'm just saying what it is, you know. So it's like you've got to understand yourself in what you're doing. So traditional martial arts teaches you to stand still, be calm, whatever's coming at you. You can put yourself into any crazy shape, and you learn all these forms and cutters and coordination, balance and all that, and add agility and all these different moves, jumping moves, flipping, kicking or whatever, just standing rigid stances or moving around, just basic boxing, all that, ground fighting, all kinds of techniques, okay? All kinds of techniques, and then like in the ancient, like the traditional stuff, like using weapons and stuff, but it's like different knowledge, but it's basically how to control your body and different movements, how that's what it basically is. The mind and the body, the concepts, how you physically move. So there's so much in there, you've got to admit, there's so much that's not being, there's so many arts out there, right? More than just kickboxing, you know, Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, or let's say the MMA, what they're doing. There's so many arts out there which have a lot of stuff. We can't just say that it's all a load of bullshit, we've cut it down to the bare necessities and this is the most realistic what we have, and then be ignorant to the other stuff out there. And I'm not saying that there are not MMA people, you know, I'm not saying that there are, you know, there's no MMA people out there that have not had backgrounds in traditional styles. I know there is. And I know that a lot of people that go into this traditional stuff are just being led in, blinded, fooled by themselves or teachers. It's just a load of old bullshit. I know. And it's been like that for years too. People just going in there for the belts and this or that, and it's not all this humble stuff. Like you're saying, they're not always humble and all this and masterful. Even if you go to these countries like China and Japan, it's not always that way. Like we see on the TVs and the films we grew up with, although it's great. But I know damn well that it does come from that kind of thing, whether it's like culture in China or Japan or that, in the history and that kind of culture, and in the monks or the schools or wherever it was from before. There is definitely truth there, definitely, which is like rubbed off codes of honour and things that they have trained. And although it might seem rigorous, a lot of this stuff is still good. If it's good, it's good. It's up to the individual who trains the way they want to. If you want to bow to your teacher, bow to him. If you want to call him master, you do it. But the reality is what you're training. Now, I want to say this, a very good bottom line thing here, final bottom line thing. I want to say to Mike Reis, thank you so much for your time, Mike Reis. It means so much for watching my videos and for sharing and communicating. I want to say, Mike Reis has said one very important thing, right? Didn't you, Mike? Right? Mike said this. He said that he doesn't want to go in for all this fake stuff. He doesn't buy it. He's not going to fall in for all of that and the bowing and this and the gi. He said he has always wanted to go in for training to bring out the best in him, to become the best fighter he can be, become the the most healthy, strong, fit, in control of himself and know what he's doing. Reality for life, for what he wanted in his life, right? And for what he wants in his life in general, as well as to become a good fighter. So this is the reality we're talking about, a concrete reality. So this is exactly what I want. I don't want anyone to misunderstand and think that I'm just living in a dream, cuckoo land, kung fu and this and that, and putting MMA down. I'm not saying that everybody's got ego in the MMA. I'm not saying everyone in the MMA is putting down traditional martial arts. I'm not saying all traditional martial arts schools out there now, or even in history, have been better than MMA. I'm saying that most of there's so many traditional schools in history, both in the East and then to the West, all over the world, traditional schools for years upon centuries, that have been worse in terms of reality based on the training and also in the actual true honour of it and respect towards its students and things. It's all been a mockery compared to MMA today. A lot of this MMA schools, at least a lot of MMA schools are realistic today, and they're doing what they're doing, right? Although I hate it. I mean, I don't want to say it in a negative way, but I don't like what they do. I like my thing, right? Traditional. What I'm trying to say is, but the real stuff was the real stuff, and I believe that it was very, very high level. And there's also so many techniques we can see, even by looking at all of the traditional styles of schools out there. There's so much that what can be learned, is what I'm saying, right? There's so many. It's like you go to I'll give you an example. You go to a library and you take one book out. The name of the book is MMA or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and fair enough, there are many, many different authors of these kind of books. There's actually a whole section for these books, let's say, MMA. But then there's other sections of the library too, which also are filled with books, some written by bad authors, some written by good authors. And all of these different other sections, which are mixed of good and bad books by good and bad authors, are all traditional arts. That's Taekwondo, Aikido, Ninjutsu, Kung Fu, whatever, snake style, tiger style, whatever it might be, drunkard, leopard, whatever, But I'm just saying, right? Tai Chi, Bagua, all that, but you don't ignore all that. You can it's okay to walk into a library and say, I like this book, or I like this author only. I will only take these books from this author, or I will only read books on this subject because I'm not interested in other subjects. Let's face it, we're like that in all kinds of areas in life. What I'm trying to say is, it's not like Kung Fu, traditional martial arts is a fighting art, and MMA is a fighting art, and that's it. These are two different things. I believe totally, right? They're both for fighting, they're both for self-defense, they're both for keeping yourself healthy and fit, and for self-defense and all that, but it's like, they're different worlds, there's different worlds within each, I don't know what to say. It's all interlinked, it's all similar, but it's like, you've got your own personal preference in life in what you do, and you do what you do, and that's totally fine. So all I'm saying, to cut this short, is basically, sometimes we misexpress ourselves, fair enough, but if the intent is just to share the beauty and the knowledge of what you've experienced in your life and what you think is good and what you've learned, not forcing it upon someone, then it's okay to share, the same way as these people can. No one should be putting anyone else down. So, I'm sharing what I'm sharing. I believe that the true martial art, traditional martial arts, lots of them have a lot of goodness in them and a lot to offer. So much more to offer that we're really... and sadly, we're not around in the days where we're not going to come across such humble and amazing masters, sadly. I mean, in terms of level, I call it mastery. In my mind, I have my own terms of that expert, master, and what I think of that. I think of a master being higher than an expert, you know what I mean? But it's like, it doesn't matter what you call them, teacher, tutor, coach, whatever. you know, trainer, whatever, you know, it's all what it is. But I'm just saying, like, you wouldn't know what that person knows. And like you said, you know, sometimes, and a lot of times, even in the traditional schools too, there's people that really don't know jack shit, or they know very little about the lineage. Not forget the lineage. I mean, they know very little about the art. They know the lineage. They know who taught them and who. My teacher's teacher was so and so. You know, it's been watered down over the years, and they don't really know. And they can show you a lot of funny things. They can show you their muscles. They can show you some amazing physical performances. I've had teachers like that in my life. I've had a load of teachers like that. You think I followed them blindly and just went in? I haven't been following people blindly in my life. Most of my teachers I've had have been total ego. You hear what I'm saying? I'm not trying to put them down. I go up to them and say, you know, see, you know. But I'm saying they're mostly ego. They go in there, they show techniques, they show how they can restrain someone down, and it come through too, or like use certain techniques, or how they can do a beautiful looking form, or start spinning some weapon around crazy, you know. All this stuff, and they talk about things, or talk about how there's most martial arts teachers you find, and people, they're always putting down other schools. One of my teachers used to always put down Tai Chi practitioners, or used to always put down other people, you know what I mean? It's the same way as other school, you know, going to any school, but they're trying to do it for their own business, they're trying to hold on to their students, fair enough, and they're saying, you know, they're trying to make sure my style is the best, this is what it is and this is that, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, you go to a karate school, it's always been like that for years, karate and taekwondo are like similar, you know, you go to a karate school, and so you know karate is similar, taekwondo is similar to karate, but you know there's a few differences, you're better to do karate because blah 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 blah, and they'll say what they'll say. And if there's another karate school down the road, then this guy's going to have more words in his mouth for you every day to try to hold on to. You know, it's this. And they'll probably hand out more belts to you, give you more praise, or I don't know what it'll be, take photos, have events, and all this fake stuff they do. Right? They'll do all kinds of things, right? So, what I'm saying is I totally understand, right, what you're saying. I understand this fake stuff, right? We're not in it to fake around and waste our lives. We're in to train for what we want in our life and what's necessary. There's people in prison like working out like crazy right now, just doing pull-ups and push-ups and all that. I'm a thin-looking guy. I'm not the big toughest-looking guy. I just say I do what makes me feel good. In the same way as you know, as Mike Reis made a video talking about people that are, out of shape or so equals fake or fraud. That's another video I made a response to you on Mike Reis. I don't know, I'm going to try and upload that. I might have accidentally deleted it, I don't know, but this video is going to get up. But it's true though, you know, you can't look at people and judge people based on what you see on the outside. They're thin like me or overweight, or fair enough, you can see to a certain extent in their ability what they show, by what they say, and by their physique, definitely. You know, you want to know someone being in good shape, but there's different forms of strength and inflexibility and ability and control, balance, fighting techniques, and in science, and how wise and how quick someone is, so that, and how they treat others too. It's a lot to a human being. Martial arts is there to train a human being. Martial arts is there to remind you to train yourself and improve yourself constantly. And forget about being nasty and negative. It's about being humble, accepting that everyone has this in them to do it. You can't push people to do it, sadly. Get off your ass, man, do some exercise. They just won't listen. They don't want to. But you can do it, and you can lead by example. But it's not even about leading or trying to lead. It's about you can do what you can, and whatever you do is whatever you are, and that will be an example in others' eyes to, if they see you or not, or however they do see you with those eyes. You could be a really kind person and people look at you and say, look at this guy, he's just such a fake, he's trying to do it just to get people's attention. You know, there's people like this on a daily basis who do this every day, going around. Azzy, as we call it, Azzy. It's like a condition, Azzy brain, Azzy buffers, like they've got a problem with their brain. They just can't accept people, they're always so jealous, they're always so defensive as such, you know. People can get like that. People can train their defence so much on the mind and the body, they become like offensive. You know what I mean? It's like if you train really offensive, you can be able to defend yourself really well too. There's some people like really tough, they go around scaring people by looking at them, you know, and the way they look and their muscle, their presence is just scary. So they're offensive, but it's defending themselves, right? Otherwise they'd get bullied. So it's really hard to balance things in life. But it's like you want to be humble and you want to do the right thing, you know, and be with moral and all that, and respect and show respect. But definitely, if your teacher's got a load of ego turns people away. It turns me away. If my teacher was full of ego, it turned me away a lot of the time. But the reason I kept going to these schools is because it was all I had. nearby me. I wanted to learn more about martial arts. It's hard to find good teachers. Right? I had to pay that money and my time, and it was like an escape from it too. I was at work and everything, at the time, and in college, So it was like back then. So it helped me. But I say it's what helped me in my life. But I know definitely martial arts. My mindset is what helped me in my life. So it's not about the knowledge teaches you. It's like your mind and how you think teaches you, and what you see in whatever you see, and you make choices. It's like Matrix again, the problem is choice and all that. I love it, the Matrix is epic. Really, really good, the Matrix. The first one was the best of them. But go back to what I was saying though. Okay, so, I love all that. I love all the stuff, the other stuff too, which people says fake, like martial arts films and all the showy stuff. I like all that too. It's a different kind of discipline, right? We respect that. But real fighting, if you want to be a fighter, you want to go into the cage or in the ring, or you want to just do MMA, that's totally fine. Or boxing, or whatever it might be. Or just train for yourself, for your health, whatever it might be, or just go for a run every day. I can't swim, I can't swim, but if you swim, you can swim, it's good exercise for the body, right? You see what I'm trying to say though? It's personal choice, totally and fairly and absolutely, right? So this is a long video here, another long one. I didn't mean it to be so long, but this is in response to what Mike Reis has said in response to one of my other videos. And you should go and check out that video if you haven't seen it, and check out Mike Reis's videos. He's got some good training. I'm not just advertising him, I like what I see. It's really, really good. Anyone can learn a lot. Anyone can learn anything from anyone if you just be humble in yourself, right? No, it's not about comparing. You see it all the time, and as I was saying, I can't stand people that do that, and they look at videos and they say, well done, you did pretty good, but let me give you some advice. Oh, the fuck, So really? Or like, oh no, that was crap, you're missing the whole point. That's, it's, people are just so ignorant out there, like you have to kiss their ass or something. So you don't have to kick people's ass, and other people don't have to kiss your ass. That's basically what it is, right? Love your life, martial arts ever. Humbleness is part of the spirit, I do believe, of martial arts. And if it's not in the master, how the hell can it be passed on to the student? And how can you learn from someone who's not humble? How can you learn from someone... how can you learn from someone who's not humble? How can you learn from someone who doesn't have a heart like that? And as well as just diligence and ability. If they don't have ability, you can't learn much from them. You've got to see that. And if you don't have humbleness in yourself, and you just... show me what you do. You want to get into a fight, as I said before. Kill the guy before he can take it. Prove that you're a fighter. Well, why should I learn from you? You might think you're being realistic, but you might not be. You go up to someone with a baseball bat in the middle of the night, crack them over the head. That's supposed to be a sensei, man. I was going to pay to learn karate from that guy. Oh my God, I'm not going to learn from him. If someone was to do that, you'd be a fool, because anyone can come unstuck. You don't kill a veteran, war veteran, and because he's had like years and years of training, or a boxing champion who's like elderly now, and you just knock them the fuck out and say, because you could listen to him and learn. And it's not, I'll stand up for another point, it's not just philosophy and quotes and all this, and people that can speak it but they can't back up their words with real ability. It's not that at all. What can you do is the most important. Any human being, what can you do as a martial artist, as a human being? Can you make any technique work? Can you make any fighting ability work in what you learn? Can you fight well? Can you survive on the street? Can you use someone's bad idea and make it better? Could you use someone's philosophical words that you've never seen that guy in action, but rather than bully that guy, take it into the training what you do, even if it means you don't even want to train with that guy anymore because you've never seen his real ability, and you go to another school, but you can learn something. You can always get something good from another human being, is what I believe. And you can't force it. But it's like, if you was patient, maybe that teacher in time would show you things, and would show you techniques. Maybe you learn a lot of fighting techniques from that guy. Maybe it's me, I'm a skinny guy, and so for example, or maybe you go to, so you don't have to get into fights with people all the time, necessarily, because anyone could just knock you out, and that someone might come up to you and say that they're a martial arts expert when they've never learned anything in their life. You'll be thinking this or that, thinking, oh yeah, fuck yourself, or maybe you'll think, oh God, or whatever, however you feel, confident or not, and then the guy will catch you unawares and knock you the fuck out, and then the next day you'll believe it, you'll tell everybody, hey, that guy's a martial arts expert, and actually he's learned nothing. And you might have learned a lot of martial arts. Or maybe you go to like some old guy or someone who looks like out of shape or this or that, just like Mike Reis said. You might go to someone, and this is what you might get the mistake, see? A man, it could be a woman, whoever, and you might learn a lot of Aikido techniques or a lot of locks and different self-defense tactics, right? And you might say, well, that's not going to work in a street fight. So like, you might go into boxing and things like this, or the hard hitting, or whatever. But those techniques would work in different situations. You just haven't trained them enough. And if you don't have that mindset or belief and want to train that way, and if you just train drills like just sloppy in the dojo or how the teacher shows you, and if you don't have a partner to train with, and real training, like I've been doing, just saying, right, with people, then you'll never get the feel for it. And really, when you're on the street and someone's holding you up or grabbing you and you don't know how to get that leverage and you've never trained about it, you don't know it. And you think, my God, I learned Aikido for so long and it's just a load of shit. Some people will be like that, with that attitude, because they've never trained real Aikido. They've never took what was there. It could be based partly on their trainer's problem, because they have not, the trainers has not taught them properly, or their so-called masters, whatever, you know. Or it could be based on that person's lack of knowledge, or whether it's laziness, or whatever it might be. But you've got to be real in yourself and your training, not just put on a gi and this or that. And the same with the MMA, you can't just go in, do all that, and then speak badly of other, I'm not saying all people do it, but speak badly of traditional art, because, you know, with someone with your mentality, someone who's really diligent and focused on their MMA, someone who in the traditional martial arts like that would make that stuff work really, really well, even with just that. So if you were able to take those techniques and make them work, it depends on you. That's the most important thing. So if you're only going to be able to just punch and kick, if you focus on your, let's say for example, if jiu-jitsu was not part of the MMA, let's say it was MMA was only kickboxing and Muay Thai, it's the striking, right? Then nobody would know about all this grappling, let's say, as such, if they didn't learn an art like that, right? You say, oh, that doesn't work, all these drills, and then someone like me comes along, even Wushu Richards, someone comes up and says, oh, all this ground fighting, what's all this crap? Like I do, right? All this grappling, you know what I mean? See the different points, the different angles I can come from. People need to come from different angles, as I say. And they won't have a damn clue. It's not fear that maybe I'm wrong. It's just, reality is we can't always be right. But we can train to overall give ourselves more knowledge and more abilities. That's what it is. I'm trying to say, right? Martial arts is about that, and you've got to keep it real. So what I want to say now, is another thing, the point. Can I just shut up for a second? What I want to say another thing, right, is a very important thing, right? A very, very important thing, a point that Mike Reis pointed out, right near the start of the video it was. Mike Reis was talking about how nowadays people don't want to learn the whole thing. There's a lot of people that don't want to necessarily go into a whole art to learn a traditional art. In this day and age, we have many schools which are just dedicated to straight up self-defense, to the point. Organisations which just go in, knife defence, all that, or all kinds of self-defence tactics, and they're just geared towards that area or certain areas for different kind of training. You want to go into fitness, you go there. You want to do self-defence, you go there. You know. This is great, I agree. Absolutely great. Straight to the point, no fucking around, not learning loads of cutters for the sake of it, and then not learning that, you know, and then tradition and that, you know, bowing and all this, and the gi, belts, and then worrying about your teacher. You just go into a group, you're learning real full-on fighting, self-defence, what to do in different situations. It's great. Great. Taking that, and a lot of these elements come from traditional martial arts. But here's my problem. It's shallow as fuck. Excuse my language, right? Not because I'm saying you want to totally believe in some traditional mystical thing and learn the whole thing. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying it can be shallow if people just go in there and think, I'm a human being, arms, legs, body, and just go in there, I'm going to get muscly or whatever, or I'm going to just work techniques. It's like, it's very good, it's straight to the point. It's like you could learn basic Wing Chun. It's like with me, with my Wing Chun, I can't even remember the whole forms. I didn't learn all of the whole form. But I know a damn lot about Wing Chun. I know exactly how to fight with sticky hands. I've learned so much with the animal styles of Kung Fu. I know what I can use. But I'm just saying, for example, let's say example, right? In Wing Chun, there's not so many techniques, really. It's just like ABC, they say. It's like a collection of techniques and skills, right? And you master it and you just mix it up your own way and move and fight how necessary, right? Similar to Aikido and a lot of martial arts, right, in that way. But it's like, you might learn a load of complex Tai Chi forms of karate, katas and things. There might be another style of martial art. Let's say it's got 2,000 katas or 2,000 techniques or whatever you want to say that. There's usually like infinite numbers of how a certain technique can be applied. You know, or techniques can be applied to a technique. No, that's what I'm saying, right? That's what I'm saying, right? But it's like, but I'm saying, right, you might say, well, you know, look at Wing Chun, man. It's just a simple little art. All it is a collection of moves anyway, blocking and striking. So basically, that's just a simple self-defense art anyway. Just because you give it a mystical name, Wing Chun, or the legendary stories of before, how it was invented and who was, you know, in the lineage. You know, this and that. But you can say that also. Oh, ninjutsu, what's all that, mystique and all that. You know, you can put anything down and be like that if you want, but it's like, ultimately, it doesn't matter. Even if you see a new club open up, a new school on the street, and it says self-defense only, just self-defense tactics, and you learn 5 tactics, that's all you learn. 5 moves. Alright? You might learn a damn lot from that. And who am I to turn around and say, well, contradicting myself again, let's just say, well, you know, it's not a full-on traditional art, it's not a proper full thing, you know, it's just those tactics and they're just playing, just a couple of guys in t-shirts and that, showing, and it's like, I don't like it, I want more than that, you know. It's like, so I could be totally wrong, because this thing could be very useful too, and it doesn't matter what you wear, t-shirts, or what the guy's name is, Billy Jones, David Thompson, or Mr. whatever his name is from Japan, Sensei, Grand Master, from the temples in his gi and that. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, what are you learning? Is it useful for you as a human being? Is it this and that's that? But what I'm saying is in the history of the traditional martial arts, I know damn well, not talking about this stuff that we think we've known about as the West about traditional, but I'm saying a lot of the real stuff, the more real stuff, that was definitely much, much deeper in terms of all of the training that it incorporated, the forms and everything. But I'm saying it was all deeper in terms of the training, and that's why it was so more regiment, you know, more honourable, more in all of that. It was like we're looking at it back on it now and saying, well, we don't need all that bullshit, we can just go and learn some good tactics and that's it, or training hard for the ring and that's it. And it builds up your character, yeah, like people join gangs, like you see, or people go into boxing and it makes them feel stronger. Yeah, it's good, it's all good, I know, for themselves they feel good. You're not hurting anyone as such, but it's like, let's say the army. And it is fair, it's totally fair for me, and don't say anyone, it's totally fair for me to compare the army, or liken the army to the ancient armies, like the samurai or the warriors, because we're talking at different days, different mentalities, cultures and different things. But it's like the army, right, the soldiers were like, nowadays the soldiers, what's it like? Everything has to be regimented. There's respect for the sergeant, general. It's all focused on what they do. And now, don't forget, okay, I'm saying that the army compared to traditional martial arts, I've never been in the army, I'm saying, is totally 2 different things. Really, I mean, warfare is always wrong. But martial arts teaches you how to be hard, to protect, you know, to train the warfare part so you learn peace in your life, right? But I'm saying that wars between countries is not really a good thing, right, between people, but it's also for the protection of their countries and all that. We understand that, but I'm just trying to say, but I'm just saying, likening that to get an understanding of why I'm saying this honour and all this and regiment stuff and control. They all have to wear the same uniform, the camouflage, whatever it is. You know, you could turn around and say, well, the army's a load of old bullshit. Not to do with like the killing and the wars, but I'm saying, just saying, look at the way that everybody has to do the same thing. Everybody has to wear the same uniform. Everybody has to bow to the general, have to salute and all this, and the way that it's all regimented. But no, because that's discipline. We need all that because it's discipline. I know people out there obviously do understand, and you'll say, well, obviously we know that. But I'm just saying, it's like, there's people out there you could say that. And that's basically what we're doing when we're mocking when we're putting down like, the old disciplines, like the old masters, or the traditional martial arts, and the way it used to be. We're basically saying that. We're not just saying it's like a blinded kind of group of religion or something, or where people are just following blindly and just... That's been going on for years, back then and also to now, all the traditional schools now. Plus there's also MMA schools now that are also mocking people, just like you said, also. So the real is the real. The real in people, be it your teachers or whoever, but the real in you too. What are you doing? Do the military train hard? Are they train hard when they follow that the generals have to be up to a certain standard, and the trainers? Yes, they do. Reality of it. Do the army need to physically train, all kinds of different training hardcore? Yes, they do. They damn well do. And there's all this, so this respect and all that, and the regiment and all that, you know, and the uniforms and the saluting. It's part of it all fits into that culture as such. We're not saying it's some mystical old culture from far away and it doesn't fit in with our world. Martial arts discipline is there to teach us to discipline ourselves so we can survive against whatever's thrown at us in this life. And to not fight ultimately, to train to be able to do more than we ever need to do, you know, but try to go in the path of nature. That's what it's really about, you know. The path of nature. So there's greed amongst people and egos and things. That's what turns human beings against each other. Right, so I'm going to stop this video here. I want to say thank you so much for watching. Okay, martial arts forever. Respect. I will do this too. I'll do my little salute. I'll do respect to all the MMA fighters. If anyone out there is an MMA martial arts practitioner, I'm also interested. I'm a little skinny guy, but I would like to look and listen to what you've got to say or your thoughts about training. I'll show you training methods. I'm not going to look at it and say, "Oh, that's fucking crap, man." The guy laying on his back, like I always do say. But it's like I won't be like looking at it like that though and saying, as such, like, "Well, that's crap compared to my kung fu, man," or your masters that I've never known in thousands of years ago. And who am I? Good for you, believe in what you believe, and if you've done good with it in your life and it's helped you, good enough for you. Well done. We can look at it the same way that we do the same thing in that way. It's two different arts, but it's the same. So traditional martial arts has a lot to offer. I'm just happy that I can stand up for it. I'm happy I learned my little bit in my life. Thank you so much for watching, and a very big thank you to Mike Reis. Thank you, Mike Reis. I love communicating and sharing. And thank you so much for your time in watching this, because this is me talking here and doing my throat in like a nutcase because I choose to, and it's a long thing. You don't expect people to watch videos which is as long as this every time. I don't expect that, but it's meaningful. This is like the bottom line for this point. But I will be making more videos, of course, talking about these subjects and that, and all kinds of subjects, and sharing martial arts training. It's all my stuff. I make all kinds of videos, as you know. I do like the short little movies for fun. It's like fun stuff, like silly stuff really. Little movies and stuff I make as well. I do little edited pieces, like little edited bits. I do my own music. I do my own art. I know all that. I do my cartoons on the cartoon channel too, which is Animation Arena. Animation Arena. Look that up as a channel on the channel search under filters. Animation Arena on YouTube under the channel search under filters channel and on YouTube, and then look for the channel Animation Arena. That's my channel for all of my cartoons. All right. I usually leave all the links to all of my channels and pages and everything underneath the videos. So hopefully underneath this video, if you go to the information there, wherever it is, you'll find there the links to my other channels, plus my Facebook and things like that, which I don't really use much, but I love to talk with anyone out there. Okay, so if you're friends of Mike Reis or of mine before, or from anyone in the martial arts circle, or anyone from different backgrounds, or even if you're someone who's not a martial artist but you find it all fascinating, or you'd like to talk about your feelings about life and different things, or ask me any questions, how I feel, or say what you think about this from a different perspective. Nobody's arguing, nobody's putting anyone down, ever. I speak strongly, I express myself strongly, because I'm standing up for the traditional, what it really was. I'm saying the real in the people that trained the traditional arts, but trained real, not just followed bullshit back then. Not the ones who do the bullshit, I know. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot in there, and there's a lot of good technique and knowledge. So much that can be found really useful. The same way as this stuff in the MMA too, I know, I believe, but it's just two different things. You can't tell a ballet dancer, you can't tell a sumo wrestler to do ballet as such, right? But if you studied it, you could learn something from it, maybe. You learn something from it. The same way as a ballet person could learn something from sumo wrestling, or any sports, footballers, basketball. We can learn from each other, right? But they're different disciplines, totally. They're different disciplines, totally. And the good thing about martial arts and things like this and discipline, it's the same as boxing as well. It's like it's a self-discipline, you know what I mean? It's not only like, and they all are, fair, all arts are, but it's not just like expression, dancing around, dance, let's say, it's training yourself, to be more and develop more. It's just amazing. There's different things, fair enough, rock climbing, surfing, and all kinds of stuff, fair enough, we know that. It's all good. Well, thanks for watching. Yeah, thank you everybody for watching always. Sorry to ramble again, and thank you very, very much, Mike Reis, for watching my videos. I bet people out there watching my videos. Yeah, you're damn right. It's a load of shit. And I bet people do watch my martial art videos sometimes and say, "Look at that skinny guy. What does he know? Monkey to kung fu? What am I doing?" doesn't match up to some people, fair enough. It doesn't match up what I'm saying, maybe. Or even what I'm saying, what am I talking about? My little stupid British motherfucker putting on different accents sometimes. Who do I think I am? And speaking my mind. Why don't I just shut up for a change? That's right. And I don't like ego at all, and I understand that from that point of view too. But I just do my bit what I do, and I'm happy I've been able to help a few people with martial arts, face to face and online, by training and teaching a few people just what I know, and I know what I've learned in my life is real and what's worked for me in my life. That's what I'll say, okay? Thank you very much for your time again. Thanks, saluting, bowing and all that. Headbutt the camera. Train on and stay safe. Smile as always. Love your life.